The continuous effects of the COVID-19 pandemic is severely affecting the world's economy at a time when businesses were already adapting to volatility and uncertainty as a way of life. With the economic outlook and threats of all kinds continuing to test even the strongest organizations, companies are facing a variety of challenges as they strive to find growth and stay competitive, from improving operational effectiveness to expanding into new markets. Welcome to TV and Business Daily on Television Nigerian. I am Chiwende Osisiago, and today we shall be discussing more on the continuous effects of COVID-19 pandemic on the Nigerian businesses. But first, let's see what is happening in the business world. The national stock market extended its decline on Monday as investors lost 38 billion naira at the end of trading. The market price closed negative as 26 losers emerged, while 11 firms recorded gains. The NSE All-Share Index dropped by 0.29% as bargain hunters continued profit-taking. The All-Share Index declined by 72.83 basic points to 24,753.92 BPS on Monday from 24,826.75 BPS last Friday, while the market's capitalization of equities depreciated to 12.91 trillion naira from 12.95 trillion naira. On the activities chart, the premium subsector dominated in volume with 28.71 million shares traded by investors and 1,222 deals. The subsector was enhanced by the activities in the shares of United Bank for Africa PLC and Zenith Bank PLC. The banking subsector was boosted by the activities of the shares of Guaranteed Trust Bank PLC and Eco Bank PLC, with 20.04 million shares traded in 595 deals. The National Economic Council has said there is an urgent need for technical and financial audit of the electricity distribution companies in the country before intervention by Siemens, World Bank, and others. The federal government and Siemens AG signed a letter of agreement on the Nigerian electrification roadmap in July 2019 with the aim of ramping up electricity generation in country to 25,000 megawatts in 6 years. NEC ad hoc committee on ownership review and analysis of discourse and electricity sector reform in its report seen by a correspondent said the power sector had underperformed due to critical challenges. It said the challenges included non-implementation of cost-reflective tariffs, misalignments between the investors and the Bureau of Public Enterprises on required investment in discourse, under-investment in infrastructure, and poor implementation of rules and contracts. Nigeria may face petrol scarcity if oil workers make good the threat of withdrawing their services nationwide should the federal government insist on registering employees in the oil sector on the integrated payroll and personal information system. The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria and the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers made the threat in a letter addressed to the Ministry of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipuri Silva. The unions kicked against plans by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation to register oil workers on the IPPRS platform. The letter, which was dated June 19, 2020, and cited by our correspondent in Abuja on Sunday, was jointly signed by the General Secretaries of PEG Gansan and NUPEG, Lumogba and Okumwa Olawale Afolabi, respectively. Bank scams are increasing as more customers are adopting electronic means of payment since lockdown was introduced in the country to contain COVID-19 spread. The lending institutions have also been alerting their customers to ensure more caution in transaction and continue to utilize the e-payment channels available to them. First Bank of Nigeria stated it recorded over 275,000 new sign-ups to alternative channels converting its First Mobile, the USSD, and First Online platforms when the lockdown started. Access Bank PLC also urged its customers to be vigilant as incidents of fraud were on the rise. It stated since the start of the coronavirus pandemic in the country, witnesses stated the lockdown of first 3 major cities and eventually the entire nation, the bank has observed a worrying increase in reports of fraudsters targeting unsuspecting customers. And that's the business update on Television Nigerian. I am Chiwende Osisiago. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back shortly.
Chinedu Osisiago, presenter Television Nigerian Business Daily. In a globalizing world, ours is to keep you engaged, informed and educated on contemporary happenings in the business world. We therefore command a special audience of business-minded viewers who are eager to know more about business, your business. Why don't you take advantage of our special affordable offer to let the world know about your concepts, your goods, and of course, your services? You can call us on 080-3071-6959 or 070-3234-9054. You can also visit us at Television Nigerian in Guzapi, Abuja, and follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook, YouTube, and of course, on Twitter at Television Nigerian. Your business is our concern.
Thanks for staying with us, and in case you're just joining us, it's still TVN Business Daily. Like I stated earlier, we shall be discussing the continuous effects of COVID-19 on the Nigerian businesses. Of course, our guest is here in the studio. He is the business growth expert, Mr. Sam. How about you? Welcome to TVN Business.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here again.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the continuous effect of this COVID-19 on Nigerian businesses. How do you think this will continue to affect businesses now?
Okay, I think one of the first things we need to consider is the general global effect of the entire pandemic or the post-pandemic on businesses or small businesses as they were generally. Like I said in some publications before, that some of these effects are positive while some are negative, and the ones who are currently negative can also be viewed as an opportunity to become something positive later on. So generally, I wouldn't say it's a negative impact to a large extent, but at the beginning, for a lot of businesses, it could be negative. As a matter of fact, it is negative. There's a particular restaurant that used to have crowd all day. There's always queue there. So I went to eat there recently and I discovered there was nobody. So I was shocked, like, what's going on? So it turns out that people like to eat there because they eat in. Most people don't like to take out. Now, part of the effect of COVID-19 on such businesses, the law that you can't eat in restaurants, you have to buy and do takeaway. So unfortunately, most of their customers are not the takeaway type. So such a business lost a lot of customers, their sales dropped, all kinds of things happened to them. They had to let go of some of their workers. So that is negative. And you see the same thing happening in some other kinds of sectors, like the banking sector, for example. There's a bank that was going to let go of 75% of its workforce. So all of these things are impacts that is happening to almost every sector. But then you have to decide how you want to respond to the effect, if you want it to remain negative for your business or you want it to be positive. The impact can never be the same for everybody. To some it's terrible, to some it's good news. I know businesses that have moved up 28 billion in the last 3 months, global business, yes, and there are businesses that have lost 2 trillion in the countries now that have lost over 2 trillion in the same period. So the impact, of course, is going to be of multiple phase to different kinds of businesses.
Okay, so outside the health sector and the agricultural sector, what other sector do you think is actually thriving in this moment of COVID-19?
Okay, any business that has a major online presence, for example, is going to thrive. For example, e-commerce sector is doing phenomenally well this time around because virtually everyone has to order the things they used to go out to buy online. And the same to logistics businesses. Now, a few months ago, we are all with the news of the ban of Okada in Lagos, for example, some of these Go-Kada and the likes of them. Mm-hmm. Right now, they have been able to switch the use of their machineries to delivery services. And that's really thriving because almost everything can be ordered right now. And they are taking advantage of that effect, of that impact massively to be able to, advance their own businesses, and they're making way better than they were doing before. So any business that actually does things online right now, they are cashing in big time. Yeah, okay. Yes, because people can't meet, they can't go out, can't do all kinds of things the way they would normally do them. So it makes it easier for people who do things online to be able to thrive even in the midst of this.
Okay, thank you. The effect of this COVID-19 on businesses, especially the negative part, cannot be overemphasized. So how long do you think this will continue?
Wow. Well, no one can say it. I think that's the short answer. I've heard some analysts say 2 years. Judging from history of the type of pandemic we've had before, I think the Spanish flu lasted for about 3 years. And as at then, we didn't have all the kind of medical advancements we have today. We didn't have the kind of technology we have today. But with what we have today, they are looking at 18 months to 2 years before a vaccine can be approved for use, or perhaps find a cure. Because those are the two things that actually determines if a few things are going to go back to normal. But we are humans. Human behavior are very dynamic, quite unique, in the sense that even after all of this is over, you remember when HIV/AIDS became a thing? Yeah. It's still with us. People practically don't want to touch someone else because of the fear of HIV. And there has to be a lot of sensitization that is still going on today to let people know this is how it works, this is how it actually happens. The same way there's still going to be the COVID-19 phobia for so many years. People are not going to turn in almost immediately to the kind of way of life they were living in 2019 and before then. So it's necessarily going to be a difficult thing to get people to integrate back the way they used to be. So the impact is going to last way longer than even the availability of the virus effect. So which means there's going to be vaccine. People can now be able to overcome the virus, not going to kill them. But then the social impact is going to last longer, which has a direct effect on businesses. So some businesses may not pick up again. They have to change, and that's the good thing. Human beings are dynamic and we adapt to change easily. So what I really feel is that businesses that will thrive are the ones that reinvent themselves to accommodate the global change that is happening as an effect of the pandemic or post-pandemic. So tentatively, we might not see everything go back to normal for a couple of years. I can't say exactly what I've heard. 2 years, I've heard 10 years, I've heard 100 years. Which means, things are still going to, things can never be the same again. That's just the fact that we have all come to accept.
And it's left for Nigerians to adapt to the current situation now.
Yeah, sure. So some of them are, and it's quite difficult because this is a big deal because in other developed countries, they have infrastructure that help the people to adapt quite easily. For example, during the lockdown, there are a lot of areas that didn't have power supply. And you want them to stay indoor doing nothing, there's no power supply. In other countries, that's not an issue. They have internet connection, they have power supply. So they're able to be productive even while at home. Businesses also, who are now embracing work at home for their workers, could easily get things done in other countries where they have the infrastructure compared to Nigeria, where just a few areas have that privilege. A lot of areas doesn't have that privilege. Now, a place like Lagos, where over 75% of people who work on the island live on the mainland, and then on the mainland they have some lesser privileges than or compared to the mainland, to the island. It becomes a difficult thing when you ask somebody to work at home in Abule Egba, where they probably have not had electricity for 2 weeks, and then the children at home, they are all making noise, and the person can't join, for example, a Zoom meeting. It becomes a difficult thing. So these are some of the challenges that they are facing, or that businesses are going to face, even when they are trying to adapt or adjust themselves to the new way of doing things, which is purely online, of course.
Okay, let's speak on these government stimulus packages. How significant can they be before we go on a quick break?
Okay. Are we talking about Nigeria or America?
No, Nigeria.
All right. Well, we can't still rule that out as much as we understand the kind of climate we operate in Nigeria. It's a very, very complex political climate. I still feel whatever it is that they are doing should focus more on small businesses that are tried, because they are the ones who drive the economy. They are the ones who ensure cash flow in the economy. So they should focus more on helping those small businesses and probably remove tax, like the governor of Cross River did recently. They can give them tax holidays. They can do some of those things that help them reduce the cost of running their businesses now that their production rate has dropped. Depending on the kind of sector that they fall in, actually. So I think to an extent it will still help quite a lot of businesses, but it might not really do as much significance as it's supposed to do. And that's why I feel every business should take responsibility for their own businesses and the things that they want to begin to do now that we all found ourselves in this kind of situation. Yes.
All right, going forward, let's just take a quick break. Then after the break, we'll continue with the discussion. Stay tuned. Many thanks for staying with us again, and in case you're just joining us, it's TV and Business Daily, and we've been discussing on the continuous effects of COVID-19 on the Nigerian businesses. And of course, my guest is here. He is a business growth expert, Mr. Sam Arad. Okay, my next question is that some sectors are worse hit than the others. Do you expect them to have the same rate of resilience?
Of course not. Of course not. There are some, for example, there are some economy that is built on tourism. And because it's difficult right now for anybody to move anywhere, you don't expect those kind of sector to pick up as fast as some others would pick up. Transportation was also hit, but some of them are finding a way to get better right now. Although the masses had to bear some of these costs because now they have to pay double of what they used to pay before, because some vehicles cannot contain as much crowd as they used to carry before now. Just trying to adjust to the laws of social distancing and everything. So naturally, there are some that will not pick up for a long time. So their response to the ones who are actually gaining, they are gaining as an effect of the COVID-19 versus those who are actually losing. Their response is obviously going to be different. So those who are losing, who can't run right now, it's going to take them quite a long time before they can actually adjust and reboot to grow again, or probably go back to how they used to be, which I doubt if any business really go back to how they used to be. It's either you become better or you become worse. But the choice is absolutely yours. The choice is absolutely yours. I believe so far that every business can actually adjust to what is happening currently in a positive way. It's just about reinventing yourself and being creative about what is available.
Okay, so what advice do you have for business owners who wish to stimulate their businesses?
Okay, let me just say this. Times and seasons always give us opportunity to respond to the change that they bring, if only we study history. Okay, every time there's a major impact in the world, or a major effect or something happening in the world, it always brings about a permanent change. And those who understand this permanent change earlier always adjust themselves and be the top gainers. Yeah. Now, COVID-19 is bringing a major change because of social distancing. It is creating what we call a digital revolution. It means you need to start to embrace digital tools. Somebody was saying that most businesses who shut down during the total lockdown, global businesses now, are never going to allow that to happen to them because they know how much they lost. So they are developing robotics to do the tasks that humans used to do. So robots can't transmit the disease, so robots will continue to work because there are speculations that there might be a second wave or there might be other worse ones that will still come. So companies and businesses are preparing for that. So they are actually bringing in the use of robots to substitute for the things that man would do. Secondly, a lot of businesses are now understanding that they actually do not need the physical space that they have been using. It's costing them a lot of money, costing them a lot of labor costs, all kinds of costs that they don't need to spend. So they are finding a way to use digital tools to get a lot of work done while their staff work from home. Recently, Google hired 3,000 staff in South Africa. So they are working from South Africa all the way to America, and then everything is online. So somehow the businesses that will thrive needs to understand that the business world is moving fully into the online space. They need to find a way to connect with their customers online. They need to find a way to innovate and create value online. Whatever it is that they are selling or whatever value they are giving, they have to find the online version of it and learn how to use digital tools to be able to communicate value or even run business processes, because it's cheaper. And if you look at it, even from the event sector as well, a lot of things can still be done online. Before now, I don't know if you've had it before. I knew a guy, I know the lady as well, who got married online. Yeah, the lady was in Canada, the man was in Nigeria. So they had the wedding at the same time, and then they were connected online. They were viewing the people in Canada from Nigeria. People in Canada was viewing the people in Nigeria. They put the picture of the lady beside the guy and the picture of the guy beside the lady, and then they were doing all the connection online. And then that was how they did their wedding. There was no pandemic, but because the guy couldn't travel at the time, so they had to use that. And it was nice. They ate rice in Canada, they ate rice in Nigeria. So they still had their Owambe somehow. So all of these things are part of innovation that businesses need to look into. But what I will give to any business right now is, if you want to survive, you need to find a way to go online. You need to find a way to use digital tools to run your business.
Okay, what about people that are on the street actually selling? Like, I know of a lady that, she sells clothes and shoes, and now nobody's buying the clothes, and she intends to change the business. What business do you think she can actually swap to?
There's no business that can't be run online. It just depends on the scale, because the truth is, for 70% of the customers you're trying to sell to are active on social media. So through social media, you can actually reach a specific area. So if you're a street business, you have no business advertising your business to or your product to somebody who's living in another city. You want to sell to people who live in your street as well. So that becomes a very good opportunity for you to be able to reach out to people who live in your streets. So it costs nothing to actually go online, register an account in Instagram or Facebook, and then use the place notification to check the people who are living around your area and be able to reach them, comment on their posts, send them DM, do all kinds of things. There are things that I teach on my page for free. I just post how you can actually reach people in a specific area without spending a dime on Instagram, for example. So if I'm selling something and I'm living in a particular street and I want to sell to everybody within that street, provided they are active on the social media platform, I can connect with them easily. So such a person can also do that. Now, people are not locked down fully in their houses. People are still going out. There's still opportunity to still reach out and sell things. So what you have to do, because for businesses it's about two things. One, you create value, and the second thing is you need to be visible to the people who can afford your value. So whatever you are producing, the problem is people are no longer going out the way they used to go. But if you can find a way to still show what you have to them, you will be able to still stay in business. So for a small business on the streets, one of the few things that they can equally do is to go online as well. So it might not work for all businesses, especially if the owner of the business is not internet savvy, which you can actually learn. So there's no loser in this whole thing, really.
Before we go on, before we finalize all we're saying now, what role should government continue to play to sustain economic recovery?
Yeah, I would say they need to strengthen the small businesses. Whatever support that they can give to small businesses that are mostly hit by this, a lot of them can't pay salaries anymore. A lot of them have to let go of their staff. Some of them, they can't, they are doing less than 30% of what they used to do before. So it's a very difficult time for them. So if government can find a way, at least give tax holiday, And some of the stimulus package they're also giving should focus more on small businesses, and they can be able to support them and give them that very soft landing while they adjust and recover from the impact of the COVID-19. So I would say governments should focus on small businesses and help them.
All right, thank you. So finally, what do you have to say?
My final thoughts, quite simple. I just believe that everybody, every business, no matter how big or small you are, can use the COVID-19 as a tool for their advancement and growth. And the simple thing that I feel they need to do is to move in the direction the world is moving, which is digital. Go digital, go global. So find a way to create an online version of what you are doing. If churches can do it, a lot of them are adjusting really fast. If mosque can do it, they are really taking over the online space. I mean, there is a Sunday that I went on Facebook, and almost every video I saw were live streams of different churches, both in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria. So they are really using that space, and it's easier. Because one thing a lot of people do not take into consideration is when you're dealing online, you're dealing globally. You can compete easily and sell to different places at the same time. So if you want to really thrive, you should look into going online.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Sam Abba, for coming on TV and
Thank
Business
you very
to
much.
today.
Thank you very much.
And he has said it that as a small and medium enterprises, you should use the COVID-19 as your advancement and, of course, as growth. And digital means of selling something online is actually very important for your business to thrive at this period of COVID-19. And that's much we have for you today on TV and Business Daily. I am Chiwendi Osisi Agwen. Don't forget that you can follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course on Twitter at TVN. Do have a wonderful day.